Good morning, Martin here with Land Rover Monthly. I'm here at one of my favourite places, JLR Classic, and I'm here to look at these new Bespoke Defenders as part of JLR Classic Works programme. But first, a little history lesson. So, back in 2018, Land Rover decided to commemorate 70 years of Land Rover by launching the Classic Works V8, which was a 5-litre, 8-speed Defender based on sort of the lowest mileage cars that they could get their hands on. It was a huge success. It was a very limited run vehicle. People snapped them up, and there's a few here actually for sale, so I'll put in a bit of footage of those. So from there, they then launched the Trophy and Trophy 2 vehicles. That's a Trophy. The Trophy 2 was snow camo, really cool paint scheme with a sort of an experience to go along with it. They were very limited numbers, 25 vehicles each, and yeah, again, they sold out straight away as well. Very, very cool way of marking and sort of a nod to the off-road legacy that obviously Defenders have. From there, the latest edition was the Islay edition, 30 of those available. That was modelled loosely on Spencer Wilkes's Series 2A, which was a big part of Land Rover history, and of course a nod to the Scottish Isles where the vehicle was used. Actually, if I swing around, there's one there. Look at that. So the latest edition is, of course, as I was saying, the Bespoke range. So it's the same platform as the previous limited edition Defenders, but this time you can have them customised exactly how you want. So you don't have to have the set yellow, obviously, of the Trophy, or the grey of the Islay, or whatever else, the other limited number cars. You can actually go on the configurator like you're speccing a brand new car, and you can actually customise these Defenders to your exact specification. You can go colour, interior, all the normal stuff that you could spec on a brand new car, but on an old shaped Defender. So yeah, we're going to have a closer look today, and we're going to go for a drive, see what they're like. 5-litre, 400 horsepower and an 8-speed ZF gearbox in these, so they're going to be quite an exciting thing to drive. I'm really looking forward to it. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll try my very best to answer them. I'll catch you in a bit. Just before we head out on the road, I thought I'd show you the configurator again. You can choose 90 or 110 wheelbase, different wheel styles, different fittings, door handles, hinges, colours, roof contrast, loads of different things to pick from. And then in the showroom itself, you've got the things on display you can have, so different grills, you've got choices of different colours here, so out on the table, all the colour samples, and of course your lights and headlamp surrounds, so LED, non-LED, lots of different things. Let's go. First thing I've noticed is you've got even less elbow room than you have on a standard one, but obviously as this is left-hand drive, I don't know if it's just that makes it more noticeable. The 8-speed box is, I mean, we've just driven here, done a good few miles in this already. The 8-speed box is beautifully calibrated. Sometimes you get in a converted Defender and you feel that the engine's great but the gearbox doesn't quite know what it's doing, whereas this, you can really play it with the throttle. It's quite a short throw throttle, but you can still ride the torque of the engine without the gearbox changing down if you wanted to, which is, again, a feature I feel is quite often missing on Defenders that have had conversions elsewhere. It's effortless, it's like an effortless power, but you only have to extend your foot that little bit more to get it to kick down, and then you can obviously take advantage of that exhaust note, which is always good. It's got the Range Rover P38 steering box, which is mounted outboard on the chassis rail to obviously allow room for the V8. There's absolutely no way you'd be able to keep a standard Defender steering box and fit this engine. And it actually does feel a little bit more responsive than a standard Defender steering box. I don't know what the ratio is. I mean, lock to lock, it feels kind of similar. But yeah, it doesn't feel quite as sort of dead in the centre as a standard box. Obviously these are incredibly high-end Defenders, so the amount of effort and, you know, work that's gone into the interiors is sort of head and shoulders above a standard one. It's incredibly quiet in here for a Defender. Obviously you've got a petrol engine and not a diesel, which helps, but rattles, creaks, vibrations that you get in even the very, very last Defenders don't seem to be there. I mean, most things in here are trimmed with leather, so centre console, the headlining, that's all leather trimmed, which I'm sure sort of the extra thickness of material probably helps. But yeah, it's you can hold a conversation, obviously, if you want to. It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing. Right, we're into national speed limit. Yeah. You certainly know it's got 400 horsepower, that's for sure. And the brakes are actually not hideously sharp. They're quite progressive, which is nice. Let's let this guy through. They're obviously bigger discs and pads than standard, and bigger calipers. ABS, all of these converted Defenders are late models, so they all have ABS and DSC. They won't convert non-ABS DSC models, obviously, because you're putting the amount of power through that you need some sort of stability control. I'm not going to test that today because, you know, they're an expensive car and we're on wet roads on all-terrain tyres, but the handling is actually really quite nice. They've got Bilstein shock absorbers and slightly revised spring rates. They sit at a standard height. This one does sit slightly lower than the other two that we've got out today because it's on those lower profile BF Goodrich all-terrains instead of the Wolf wheels with the 235/85 tyres. It corners remarkably flat for a Defender. They're anti-roll bars front and rear, and they work really well with the revised springs. So although you've still got beam axle ride, you know you're driving a Defender still, when you get to a roundabout or a sharp bend, it doesn't roll nearly as much as you might expect, which is obviously what you want when you've got that level of performance under your right foot. But what I can't get over, like I say, the most standout thing to me is how refined they've got the cabin. And actually these are Recaro seats that retrimmed to suit this Defender, which is actually finished in a Range Rover L460 colour, which is quite interesting. This is a sort of urban style they've gone for with this particular Defender as opposed to the classic style. And yeah, I think it ties all really well together, and just the engine and gearbox, it kind of feels like, what is this guy doing? It kind of feels like it was designed to be in here. It doesn't feel like a retrofitted conversion, and I guess when you're spending the sort of money that these are, and the fact that you are buying them from Land Rover Classic Works, that's what you come to expect. But it does not fail to deliver I don't think if you were in a position to buy one of these and you did put your own hard-earned money into one and you spec'd it exactly how you wanted it, I don't think you would take delivery of it and feel shortchanged, put it that way. I mean, I'm a lotto win away from having one of these myself, but it is finished to an incredibly high standard, and the engine and box, yeah, I want one. I'm really excited to get into the 90. I'm going to drive that next, so I'll let you know how that is. The 110 though, because of the wheelbase, it feels so nice and planted, coupled with the dampers that it's got and the anti-roll bars. Even on all terrains, it feels incredibly well composed on the road, which is something I never thought I'd say about a Defender. This is the Defender 90 we went out in next, done in an adventure style rather than the urban style of the 110, with roof rack, roll cage, steel wheels. Being short wheelbase, it was a little bit twitchier, but probably even more fun to drive than the 110. So yeah, we'll head out in that next. Out on the road in the 90, the 16-inch wheels and the slightly chubbier tyres were obviously a bit detrimental to the handling. It wasn't quite as sharp as the 110 on the 18s, but absolute hoot to drive. And actually the noise in the cabin, still very quiet from a refinement point of view, but you could hear the exhaust even better in the 90. So that, with the more nimble handling, made for a really, really smile-inducing drive. But as a daily, I think the 110 would be better.